So I'm just heading back from an appointment. Figured I'll shoot a video. So vaping on one of these Inikin Gomax tanks that Inikin George sent me a few extra ones. Very nice of him. So Inikin Gomax on the Inikin, what was this thing called? Inikin Proton. Really nice combination. Really enjoying it. I'm gonna open the window a little bit. Hope it doesn't make too much noise so I can vape. So, to address these these Gomax tanks and throwing them out, because, a bunch of people complain about that. I started thinking the other day about how many things in my life here in America, in case you're not here, are go in the garbage. How much stuff we put in the garbage. And I'm not, I don't like it. I try to avoid it. I recycle whenever anything needs to be and can be recycled. But I'm not somebody that's, I don't want to say anything defamatory here, but, anybody who's one of these nuts about it, that's really crazy enthusiastic and gets mad at other people when they don't recycle something. I'm not like that. But I was thinking, I started my day and had to change the head on my electric toothbrush, and the old one goes in the garbage. And then I have these things for breakfast. They're called Just Crack an Egg. If you've ever had those, I don't know what company makes it, but it's a little bowl, and inside 3 little bags, and they'll have vegetables and sausage and potatoes. And you just put 1 egg in the cup, and you empty out those 3 little bags, and you mix it up, and you got a breakfast. It's nice. It's cheaper than buying breakfast out, and I'm always busy, and low carbs, and so I use those. But you throw in the bowl in the garbage. You throw in 3 plastic bags in the garbage, and you throw in the plastic cover that you rip off the top in the garbage. And it's like that all day long. One of the live shows, I know Mike Vape said, what about the bottles? We're all using juice bottles. And all right, yeah, you can reuse those, but how many of us are actually saving every juice bottle we use and reusing it and repurposing it? You throw those in the garbage too. What about the glass ones? You may not be recycling those if you're still using some of the smaller glass bottles. Most of them are like Gorilla plastic bottles. We're just throwing that stuff out all the time. So, all day long we're throwing stuff out. And when I think about, I was comparing this to some Freemax Mesh Pro coils. I think they were the doubles, the dual coils. They're pretty big coils. They're almost the size of this tank. When I go through one of those and I had a sweet juice in it, 4 days later, I'm done with it. I'm not so crazy about the taste anymore with a sweet juice, and I throw it out. At the same time I had this going, I ended up using the last one of these for 7 or 8 days before I ended up throwing it out. But it's the same idea. You use this, you get a week's worth of value out of it, and then it goes in the garbage. There's so many things today, packaging and stuff, that we're just throwing the whole thing out. So it's not like it's a big deal when you compare it with all the other stuff we throw out. So that's the way I started to feel about it. And then those coils, those Freemax Mesh coils, are $4 a piece for the dual, and more if you buy the triples or the quads. These things are going for $4 a piece. So this is the same price, if not less, than a decent coil. And it's the whole thing. So, I don't know. I really like these. I've been really happy with these Gomax tanks. They're convenient, they're easy to fill. Great flavor on them for what I think is just a single mesh coil in there. Just doing a great job, and I'm very happy with them. So anyway, that's what I'm vaping on. So like I said, just driving back from a client that's about 30 minutes from where I live and work, my home office. And in case, I don't know if I ever mentioned, but, when people ask me what I do, I say I'm an IT consultant, because that's just the easiest thing to tell people. They understand, oh, you're in computers, okay. What I really do for those technical is I'm like a sysadmin, but I'm self-employed and they're my clients, and I'm system administrator. Anything needed for their network, whether it's security, viruses, servers, software, emails, all that stuff, I do. So I manage networks for my clients. So this was an actual village in the area here that had power failure last night, and they couldn't get their server to come back on. So we fixed it, and they're back up and running. So if you notice the title, and I don't know if you can see, when I do this video, when I actually get back and put this up, I'll throw the front footage on here. Well, of course, you're seeing it already now. You can see where I am. This area here is a lot of farms, and I'm about an hour and a half north of New York City. So, there's farms up here. I've driven across here and come over this hill and had a bear sitting right in the middle of that road right there in the past. And I've seen bears 3 dozen times in the 20 years I've been living up here. They're all over. You see them out in the fields here in the farm. You'll just see a big black bear walking along over there. So I don't see anything now. Otherwise, usually it's not middle of the day when they're out. But if I see anything interesting, I'll make sure to point it out in the car video that's being recorded. Anyway, the title of the video, I'm smoking again, or something like that. Not cigarettes. Not smoking cigarettes. To me, that's not smoking. To me, that's suicide. So, but I guess what I want to talk about is, I was a cigar smoker for over 20 years, and cigarettes when I was younger, and I stopped pretty much cigar smoking for vaping about 6 years ago, I guess. But every once in a while, I still have a cigar, and I greatly enjoy it. And I got an urge a couple weeks ago to try. I haven't smoked a pipe in a long time. I used to enjoy pipes too. And so I picked up a couple of cheap pipes, like $10 pipes. And I have to say, it is extremely enjoyable and satisfying. And so I'm smoking pipes a little more. Cigars have gotten very expensive. When I started smoking cigars, a good cigar was $3. Making myself feel old. Now a good cigar is $10 at least, for something decent that I'm willing to smoke. So pipes can be a lot cheaper alternative to that, because you can get a corncob pipe that does a great job for $6-7, and for $5 pick up enough tobacco, to smoke that pipe 2 dozen times easily. So pretty inexpensive smoking hobby compared to cigars, and it doesn't stink you up as bad. Usually when you smoke a cigar, anybody here that smokes cigars, and if you still do, comment below. I'd love to know that you're a fellow cigar or pipe smoker. Cigars, when you smoke a cigar, it's extremely enjoyable to you. It's usually not extremely enjoyable to anybody else. I don't like the smell of somebody else's cigar. It makes me think of cigars, but the actual smell is not too pleasurable. Whereas pipes are different. Pipes, usually the tobacco and just the way it burns and the types of tobacco used are usually very pleasurable even to other people. You're enjoying it, and usually people that smell it say, "Oh, that smells nice." So pipes is and it doesn't make nearly as much smoke as a cigar. So if you, I smoke in my garage a lot of times just because it's cooler. I open the door than being out in the hot sun outside. And a lot of times it doesn't stink up the place, where a cigar would just make the place stink like a cigar for days. Pipe really doesn't do that nearly as much anyway. So, if you, comment below, let me know if you're someone that still enjoys that. And I just want to say, I don't consider smoking a pipe or a cigar anything like, or have anything to do with people that smoke cigarettes or smoking a cigarette. Because when you're smoking a cigarette, you're getting chopped up what feels like stale tobacco mixed with tar and accelerants, like, whether it's, I don't know if it's gasoline or lighter fluid, but they put accelerants to make it burn faster. Pipes and cigars, tobacco is I'm not talking about these cheap, bulk blunts or whatever that they use. I'm talking about a regular decent cigar or decent type of pipe tobacco is nothing but tobacco. Tobacco is the only ingredient, 100% tobacco, mixed of different blends to give the flavors, but tobacco. Sometimes they'll infuse it with a little bit of vanilla, which a lot of times comes from natural, vanilla extract and stuff like that, or cherry, which from cherries. But for the most part, it's tobacco. And tobacco has natural nicotine. It's nothing's enhanced or, nothing's changed about it. And it's just smoking tobacco really is not a carcinogen. And I'm not an expert, all right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. This is my experience, all my knowledge from my years of being involved in smoking pipes and tobacco and stuff like that, and vaping too. This is just my knowledge, no expert here. But my understanding is, it's thousands of times less likely to have any problems. You probably be honest, vaping is probably less healthy than pipe or cigar tobacco. In my opinion, I would think so, because that's just a natural leaf, where this contains, again, it's not that it's bad. We all know vaping is not perfect. Breathing clean air is the only thing that's perfect, but, it's 95% safer than smoking. But, it's still chemicals, man-made chemicals. Pipe and tobacco and cigar smoking, I think, is the return on investment, the pleasure you get from it compared to the very low risks of cancer or any health problems from those things, I think is well worth it. In cigarettes, it's not worth it at all. You're very likely to have to get cancer, to have COPD, to have breathing problems, all kinds of problems from a cigarette. To me, that's not worth it at all. But the satisfying feeling of pipes and cigars, to me, is very much worth the pleasure compared to the risk with tobacco. So, so I don't know if anyone's interested in me doing any pipe or pipe videos or anything, talking about pipe tobacco, talking about using a pipe or anything like that. If you are, I could always do something like that. I'll put a link in down below to somebody that I found. He puts up a lot of different life videos and stuff like that, but he's got a nice way about him. And when I wanted to get back into pipe smoking, I did look up some information just to refresh my memory, because it's been 15 years since I had smoked a pipe, and found his videos that were categorized for pipe smoking, because he does do videos of pipe smoking. So I'll put a link up to that playlist of his that's just for pipe smoking, but he does have other videos up there on other subjects as well. But I thought it was very informative, and he did a great job, and it's a nice channel, so I'll link to that. But I don't know if anybody here is interested in that. I know I've seen it happen to other people before that are vape reviewers. You start putting up more personal content about anything, that's not vape related, and people get very upset. And years ago, I would have agreed with that. I'm like, this is a vaping channel. I'm coming to watch you because I want to hear about vaping. And now I got to watch you and your kids, or this and that, and other topics, and it used to bother me a lot. But I understand why they did it. After a while, every single video you do is, look, another mod, look, another mod, look, another mod. Sometimes you figure, hey, let me just put up some other content, and I know some people will get annoyed by that. You may get annoyed by this. I've been talking now, 13 minutes or so, or something like that, and who wants to listen to me talk for 13 minutes? But that's the way I felt when you started doing YouTube videos. Who wants to listen to me do another YouTube video? But I've been doing it for a long time now, and I'm happy to just try and talk about something else. So that was it. That was the main thing, and I know it was a little bit of a clickbait on the title there, but so what? We'll all live, right? No harm done. What else? Anything else? I can't think of anything else. Giveaways, now that I'm not doing Patreon anymore, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I'm not sure how I'll be doing giveaways, or we'll figure out something with that when the time comes. Like, it's been a little slow lately with vape stuff, so all the Patreon giveaways before I closed down the Patreon for last month for July went out in the beginning of July. It was like 5 or 6 items that went out to the next people that were in line in the Patreon list, because I've just every month continuing and then starting over again. So if you got something, I'm glad. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But that's the end of the Patreon and the giveaways. It's very hard to do giveaways with YouTube anymore. You can't even put links in the video to the product you're reviewing anymore. That's why I throw them on the screen usually in the video. So you got to type it in, but at least you can see what it is. So that's about it. Curious, the juice that I got in here, so I just ordered 2 more this morning, 2 more 120s, is Prodicts the First, which is like a fruit mixture thing that I really, really like. I ordered another 2 120s, like $24 for 2 120s shipped, which is unbelievable good price for really good juice in my opinion. I think this is I should order more, but I think this is my 3rd or 4th order of 2 120s. So, in this year. So, been going through it quite a bit. Very good juice. I love it. So it is a little bit past lunchtime. I'm gonna go figure out what I can get to eat, since I'm diabetic, and when you're out on the road driving around and you bring lunch with you, it is very hard to find low carb meals on the road. No matter what you get today, it's just crazy in carbs. Somebody that I talked to in the Discord channels, a vaping group, link to my Vaporium. Check out myvaporium.net if you haven't. Was talking about Burger King has that new veggie Whopper. I forgot what it's called, the Ultimate Whopper, something like that. And I was thinking about trying that one time, even though it has bread on it. But he said, and somebody else said that horrible, just really not good. And I looked it up, and a veggie Whopper is still 58 carbs. Probably mainly because of the bread, but yeah, that 58 is like what I'm supposed to have in an entire day worth of meals. So don't think I'll be trying that. But that's about it. So I'm going to finish this up, get something to eat, get back to my office and get back to work, edit this video, and throw it up. And I'm happy that my son, who's into gaming computers and knows a lot more, at 15 years old, he knows a lot more about the best processors and video cards and gaming and all, stuff like that. And works for me too. He's 15 years old and he works for me, builds computers, servers, repairs them, stuff like that. Very proud of him. I never overclocked my own PC just because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on the CPU. But he talked me into putting on a much better heatsink to keep it cool, because I tried overclocking it and made a big difference in my performance of my videos. And I have Intel i7 6700K, and I got a video card that's about a $300 video card. I don't know which one. It's a GeForce something, I guess. He knows. I don't keep up on those kinds of things. And in my IT world, it's keeping people's servers going and software and stuff like that. I don't keep track of video cards. But yeah, I overclocked it, put a new heatsink on to keep it cool, because it was hitting like 210 degrees Fahrenheit, which if you're in the IT field, is too hot for a CPU. So I got a little bit, got like a 20% speed boost there. So makes it a lot less of a headache to encode videos. Even a 20% speed increase when you're putting together a video that used to take 40 minutes to encode. Does a good job. And that's about it. Dollar Tree. Maybe I can get some dollar lunch there. All right, well, anyway, if there's enough people that are interested in pipes or cigars, or you're pipe smokers or cigar smokers, and you still do that, even just recreationally, not like a daily thing, but like I do it now, just on the side, after work, sitting with a friend and having a cigar is a very relaxing, nice thing. If you're someone that's into that, I used to go to what's that magazine? Cigar Aficionado. They used to have events. They probably still do, but I don't think it's as big as it used to be. They used to have events, and whenever they had them in New York and Boston, I used to go to those. And you pay a couple $100s to get in, but you walk out with a couple $100 worth of cigars, and you get to hang out. It's like going to, like a vape convention kind of a thing. So I used to do that, and that was a nice time with friends doing that. And they had people there sampling, high-end whiskeys and bourbon and stuff like that. Yeah, those were nice, but I don't see them as much anymore. But again, I don't follow that, but I'm still on that mailing list. But every time I see them, it's usually in Vegas or something, and I don't fly. If I can't drive there, I don't go. So that's a whole nother story. But I'm not afraid of flying. No, I don't get afraid of things like that. Yeah, I don't go to those things anymore. But those were nice years ago. If you ever went to like the Cigar Aficionado cigar events, it was beautiful, really nice, high-class events. And yeah. As you can see, like, where I am, the mountains and everything around here. And I'm from Brooklyn originally. And like I said, I'm about an hour and a half north of Manhattan. And I've been up here about 20 years now, living up here. Never in a million years would I ever want to move back to the city or back down there or anywhere else that's busy. I'll take the country and the long rides and the bears and the rattlesnakes and the foxes and the deer and the raccoons and the skunks and the wolf spiders and all those kinds of problems. I'll take that stuff over living in the city anytime. I go down there for work. I have clients throughout New York City, throughout Jersey, throughout everywhere. So I'm in those areas all the time. And every time it reminds me about how glad I am not to be living down there anymore and living in a place that's actually much more beautiful and relaxed, and people are nicer, less crime, less stress. World of difference. If you live in a city and I'll tell you something, first time I was probably about 20, when I drove upstate New York by myself for the first time, or went this way for the first time ever. And if you're somebody that lives in a city, grew up in a city, and you've never been out of the city really, you have to do that. You have to get out of the city. Just take a weekend, get in your car, and go drive. Every state that has a big city has a country area, all right? Go there, maybe not like Arizona, I don't know, maybe go to a desert area, I don't know what's down there, sorry. But most places, somewhere within driving distance in the United States, you can get to some place that's like this. And I remember when I was like 19, 20 and I came up here for the first time, and I couldn't believe how many trees there were. That's the first part, is trees everywhere. Something you're not used to down there unless you go to like Central Park. And they don't even feel like trees if you're in Manhattan. The air is so horrible down there already. And then I remember driving along in the middle of the night and seeing lights flashing along the side of the road, and I thought they were like really big lightning bugs, fireflies. And I pulled off to the side of the road, and I pulled out a flashlight and aimed it to see what I was looking at, because there was no cars around. It was dead quiet, and it was all deer. There must have been 50 deer along the side of the road, and it was the headlights from my car reflecting off of their eyes. And so that was like, I remember that really well. Like, never saw anything like that. All these animals loose running around over there. And then when you start to go, those days, you would pull into a gas station. I remember pulling into a gas station, not seeing anything on the, they didn't have digital credit card swiping type things. And I ended up I went to the place, and this old woman's behind the counter, and I said, hi, I want to put $20 on that pump out there. She goes, okay, just go ahead and do it. And I said to her, well, I didn't say how much. I just said, I want to, gas for that. She said, just go ahead and do it. I said, okay, I walked outside, I took the pump, put it in, and you were able to start pumping the gas. You didn't have to pay first. And then when I was done, I walked inside, and she says to me, how much did you pump? What do you mean, how much did I pump? It was $20 or whatever it was at the time. And she goes, oh, okay. I'm like, you can't tell how much gas I put in my car? She goes, no, I have no idea how much you put in it. There's no computer or anything. And I'm like, how do you know someone's not lying? She goes, I don't. It's just that you tell me how much you pumped and you pay me, and that's it. So that was really weird. And then I remember the next day driving into a gas station to get something to eat, one that had a place to eat there after I left the hotel, and pulled in, and I got out of my car, and it was like 3 other cars there. It was wintertime, by the way, and 3 other cars there, and they were all running, and nobody was in the cars. And I went inside, and I got what I wanted to get, and I got back in the car, and then I sat there for a few minutes, and I saw other people come out, get in their cars, drive away. People leave the cars running to keep them warm. I'm from Brooklyn. You just leave your car running with the keys in it, and it's open, and that's it. You walk away from your car. I never heard of such a thing. So anyway, that's what made me start thinking about I wanted to live upstate and not anywhere else. And that's where I live now. Trees and mountains, and much, 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 much nicer than living in a big city. And the idea that you can't do whatever you want at 2 o'clock in the morning like you can in the city is fine by me. This is 1,000 times better. And I am now about 3 minutes from my house. So I'm going to vape a little more, grab something to eat, and then go back to work. And I hope I didn't bore you too much. Bye.